particular week.
No. No. Tired is all.
Greta, what are you thinking? Tell me what it is, Greta. I think I know what is the matter. Do I know?
I'm thinking about that song, The Lass of Aughrim.
What about that? Why does it make me sad? Why, Greta?
I'm thinking about someone I knew who used to sing that song. It was long ago when I was living in Galway with my grandmother.
Someone you were in love with?
A young boy. His name was Michael Fury. And he used to sing The Lass of Aughrim. Such a delicate boy. I can see him plainly. He had such big, dark eyes and such expression in them.
So you are in love with him. Perhaps that is why you wanted to go to the west of Ireland with that Ivors girl. To see him, perhaps.
He is dead. He died when he was only 17. Isn't it a terrible thing to die as young as that?
What was he?
He was in the gasworks.
I suppose you were in love with this Michael Fury, eh, Greta?
I was great with him at the time.
And what did he die of so young? Consumption, was it?
I think he died for me. It was about the beginning of winter and I was getting ready to leave my grandmother's house in Galway and come up to the convent. He was ill and in his lodgings in Galway and he wouldn't be let out. His family in Uachtarard were written to. He was in decline, they said, or something like that. I don't rightly know. He was such a gentle boy. And he was very fond of me. We used to go for walks, Gabriel, you know, like they do in the country. He was going to study singing, only for his bad health. He had a beautiful voice. Poor Michael Fury.
Well, and then?
And then, when the time came for me to leave my grandmother's house in Galway and come up to the convent, he was much worse. And they wouldn't let me see him, so I wrote him a letter telling him I was going up to Dublin, but that I'd be back in the summer and hoping he'd be much better by then. On the night before I was to leave my grandmother's lodgings in Nuns Island, I was packing up my things and I heard some gravel thrown up against the window. The window was so wet I couldn't see out, so I ran downstairs as I was and I stepped out into the back garden. And there, at the end of the garden, was the poor fellow shivering.
Did you not tell him to go back?
Of course I told him to go back, and that he'd get his death in the rain, but he wouldn't listen to me. He said he didn't want to live. I can see his eyes as well. He was standing at the end of a wall where there was a tree.
And did he go home?
Yes. week in the convent, he died. And he was buried with his people in Uachtarard. Oh, the day they told me he had died.
So she had had that romance in her life. A man died for her sake. How poor a part I, her husband, have played in her life. It's as though she and I had never lived together as man and wife. Perhaps she has not told me all the story. Why this rage of emotion within me an hour ago? From what did that proceed? From my answer? My foolish speeches, from the wine and dancing, the merrymaking, saying good night? Poor Aunt Julia. I caught that haggard look upon her face for a moment as she was singing Arrayed for the Bride. Some day soon I'll be sitting back in that same drawing room dressed in black. Aunt Kate will be sitting beside me, crying and blowing her nose and telling me how Julia died. Yes. Will happen very soon. The newspapers were right. Snow was general all over Ireland. It was falling down on the central plains, on treeless tops, falling softly upon the Bog of Allen, and farther westward, softly falling into that dark, mutinous Shannon waves. It was falling too on every part of that lonely churchyard upon the hill where Michael Fury lay buried. It lay thickly drifted into the crooked headstones and crosses, on the spears upon the little gate, on barren thorns, through the universe, and faintly falling like the descent of their last end, upon all the living and the dead.
On your behalf and on behalf of the museum to the Rasthfarnham Theatre Group, and